Applications of nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy. This is the second lecture, which is in continuation of the first lecture, which was done on NMR spectroscopy basic concepts. Because the NMR has vast number of applications in many fields of science and technology. So that is why the lecture has been thought to be given separately from the basic concepts. So as we can see that NMR have applications in the fields of agriculture, chemistry, forensic science, biology, food technology, material science, microscopy, medicine, petroleum industry, and physics. And there are many more fields which are opening for the applications of NMR spectroscopy. So if we see that in case of agriculture, NMR has found application in especially in soil science, environmental science, then effect of pollution and efficacy of its remediation. That is also studied using NMR technology. Then in case of structural chemistry, this has been used vastly for analysis and synthesis of chemicals, polymers, and all types of materials. Then in forensic science, the NMR has been used as an application for detection of explosives. Mainly, this application has been done for detection of explosives at airports. Then in structural biology, protein structure analysis has been studied using NMR spectroscopy, and there are many more applications which are currently being pursued for the structure biology. Then in food technology, some of the important uh, application is like profiling of honey, then quantification of flavonoids and functional foods. In addition, we will discuss some other applications in food technology separately also. Then in material science, the application of NMR has been used in lithium ion battery and in study of structure of nanoparticles. Then in case of NMR microscopy, multidimensional imaging of animals and plants has been done directly to know the constituents of these, and then we can also study the structure of different types of entities present in these animals and plants. In case of medicine, it has been used in case of technology also and in case of drug design also. For example, we all know the most important aspect of NMR is MRI, which is used for different types of tumor determination, then tissue perfusion studies. All these types of uh, applications in medicine, they have been done using MRI. Then in case of drugs or pharmaceutical industry, NMR has been used for drug design and development, then quantitative analysis of various drugs in pharmaceutical industry, it has been used. Then in petroleum industry, NMR has been used for exploration of petroleum and natural gas and their recovery also. Whereas in case of physics, uh, MRI, magnetic resonance imaging of non-biological type of entities have been performed through physics. Whereas for biological entities, we have used medicine technology. So these are few of the important applications of NMR which has come up in the recent years, and our main concentration will be studying the few general applications in case of chemistry, and then few in case of food technology and health. First is that in chemistry we can detect the structural isomers using NMR spectroscopy. So for example, if we are having a mixture of N-propyl chloride and isopropyl chloride, so we can distinguish these two on the basis of their NMR spectra. If you can see over here, N-propyl chloride will have this NMR spectra where we will have three signals, this for 3H methyl group, this is for this methylene, and this third signal is for this methylene group. Whereas in case of isopropyl chloride, the six methyl protons, this and other methyl, they will be having a six proton signal at one place, and then one proton will be having other signal. So there will be only two signals in case of isopropyl chloride, whereas there will be three signals for N-propyl chloride. Similarly, we can distinguish between primary and secondary alcohols, or secondary or tertiary alcohols, based on their NMR spectra. For example, in case of 1-propanol, we will have this type of NMR spectra where we will have four signals. Whereas in case of isopropyl alcohol or propane 2-ol, we will have only three signals, one for these six protons, this methyl and this methyl, one signal for this hydrogen, and other signal for the hydroxyl hydrogen. So isopropyl will have three, and this will have four signals in NMR. So this is how, on the basis of NMR spectra, we can distinguish between structural isomers. Then is similarly we can identify geometrical isomers also with the help of NMR spectroscopy. So geometrical isomers, they can be distinguished on the basis of chemical shift also, on the basis of coupling constant also, and there is one more effect which is called as nuclear Overhauser effect, NOE. On the basis of this also we can distinguish between the geometrical isomers. So first is on the basis of chemical shift, how we can identify the geometrical isomers. So if you see this example, we are having trans-stilbene and cis-stilbene. Now in case of trans-stilbene, we can see that hydrogens, they are shielded by two aromatic ring. If you take this hydrogen, this is shielded by this phenyl ring as well as this phenyl ring, whereas this hydrogen, this is shielded by this phenyl ring and this phenyl ring. So that means hydrogens, they are deshielded by these two aromatic rings, whereas in case of cis stilbene, this hydrogen is deshielded by this only, and this hydrogen is deshielded by this only. So here deshielding is done by one phenyl ring, whereas here the deshielding is done by two phenyl rings. So because of that, the cis isomer gives a signal at 6.49 delta, that is chemical shift, whereas trans isomers give signal at delta 6.9 in. So this is how we can distinguish between cis and trans isomers, because in case of cis and trans isomers, the position of the chemical shift will change because of the different deshielding at the two geometrical isomers. Then is second example is on the basis of coupling constant, how we can distinguish between geometrical isomers. So here uh, cis and trans isomers, they will yield different shift on the NMR spectrum because the coupling constant is smaller in case of cis isomer than in the trans isomer. So if you see this, for example, in a general case, in case of cis, the range of coupling constant is between 7 to 12 hertz, whereas in case of trans, the range of coupling constant is between 12 to 18. So typical value for coupling constant in case of cis is taken as 10, and in case of trans it is taken as 16. So that means coupling constant is lower in case of cis and higher value in case of trans. So that means when NMR spectrum of those two isomers will be taken, that will be different. So hydrogens in a cis isomer, they will be slightly more upfield, and trans hydrogen, they will be more downfield. So for example, if we take the case of uh, the trans 3-chloroacrylic acid or cis 3-chloroacrylic acid, or we call these as E or Z isomers. So if we take this, the coupling constant, because this is trans here, this will be more as compared to coupling constant of the cis. So trans isomer, that will give a signal more downfield, cis isomer will give a signal which will be more upfield. So on the basis of coupling constant, we can differentiate between the geometrical isomer. The magnitude of this coupling constant in olefins, this follows a general rule that coupling constant of trans will be more than coupling constant of cis, and this is a very convenient way to distinguish between cis and trans isomers. Then is another example of using coupling constant to distinguish between E and Z isomer, or cis and trans isomer. As I have already told you, that magnitude of coupling constant in olefins follow general rule that coupling constant for trans is more than coupling constant of this cis. So typical values, as I have told you, for J is 15 megahertz for alkenes and 10 megahertz for Z alkenes. So we will take this example, E14 dichlorobutene, this one, the trans form or E form. The value of coupling constant is 15 in this case, whereas in this Z or cis isomer, the value of coupling constant is Z. Value of coupling constant is 11. So that is why this will be this cis will be upfield, and this will be downfield. Then the third category by which we can identify the geometrical isomers, that is nuclear Overhauser effect. Now, nuclear Overhauser effect, or NOE, this is defined as change in the integrated intensity of one NMR resonance that occur when another is saturated with radiation with an radio frequency field. So, meaning is here that if say we are having a simple molecule AB, and in which there are two spins, they interact by dipole-dipole interaction, and distance between this A and B is less than 3.5 angstrom units. And when we take a normal NMR spectrum, there will be two lines, one for A and other for B. They are produced in the NMR spectrum. But when the molecule is radiated with radio frequency radiation at the resonance frequency of B, then spin lattice relaxation of A will be speeded up, leading to the increase in the NMR absorption of signal of A. So what will happen is that change in intensity of the signal of A due to close proximity of B, this is known as nuclear Overhauser effect. So when this molecule is irradiated with radio frequency radiation at the resonance frequency of one of the atoms, then the signal for that atom will disappear and we will have only one signal. The other will signal for other will intensity of signal for other will increase, and this is known as nuclear Overhauser effect. And this differs from coupling constant in the way that this occurs through space, whereas coupling constant that occurs through chemical bonds. And nuclear Overhauser effect is generally shown on over short distances only, that is in the range of 2 to 4 angstrom units. Then some examples of NOE. The first example of NOE was studied in 1965 by Annett and Bohm. What they have done is they have studied two molecules, 3-methyl but 2-enoic acid, beta-beta dimethyl acrylic acid, and N dimethyl formamide. And when NOE of these were done, uh, the normal NMR spectra was compared with the spectra taken at the radiation of vinyl hydrogen frequency. So first normal NMR was taken, then NMR was taken when the frequency of this vinylic hydrogen that was radiated. Then intensity of the cis methyl group. This is cis methyl group cis to this hydrogen. This methyl group is trans to this hydrogen. So this intensity of signal of cis methyl group increased by 17%, whereas the intensity of trans methyl group decreased by 4%. And this is called as NOE, nuclear Overhauser effect. And similar results they were seen in case of N dimethyl formamide. So first normal NMR spectrum was taken, then spectrum was taken when the radiation at the radio frequency of this hydrogen was done, and it was found that intensity of the signal for cis methyl group increased by 18% and trans methyl decreased by 2%. And this is another example of NOE. Then recently this effect NOE has been used to elucidate the structure of switchable compounds. Now if you see this compound, within this compound this diazo functional group is there, and one diazo functional group is trans, other diazo functional group is cis, and the proton which has been designated as H, this one over here and this one over here, they show a different set of NOEs depending upon the proximity of this aromatic group with the hydrogen. So in the trans state, the this is the trans state. We can see that this hydrogen is much away from this phenyl group, and the NOE experienced by this methyl due to this phenyl group will be different than the NOE absorbed by this hydrogen in the cis group, because here the influence of this aromatic group will be different at this hydrogen, and because of this NOE will be observed at two different rates in this switchable compound, and we will have two types of NOE, colored NOE or red colored NOE, depending upon that how this phenyl group interacts with this hydrogen over here or over here. So this is a recent report in 2019 in Journal of Molecular Structure. Then few more examples of NOE for determination of stereochemical and conformational relation in relatively rigid molecules. So if we see this molecule, this hydrogen, this because of this methyl group will have increase in intensity of the NMR signal by 31%. But when this methyl group is trans to this hydrogen, then there will be no NOE effect. So on the basis of this, we can assign E or Z stereochemistry to such type of rigid molecules. Then if we see this is a transalkene, whereas this is a cis-alkene, and interaction of this proton with the methyl will be different in both the positions, and because of this here this is closer, this methyl group is closer to this hydrogen, there will be a large NOE, whereas here the distance between methyl and hydrogen is more, therefore there is no NOE effect. So on the basis of this, we can distinguish between these two orientations or two stereochemical conformations, that in one case there will be large NOE, in other case there will be no NOE. Similarly, this molecule can also be assigned E or Z stereochemistry on the basis of NOE. If this is present in this stereochemistry, then both the carbon-carbon double bonds, they are trans, and we can see that here the distance between this methyl and this hydrogen is small, so it will observe an NOE effect. This is increase in intensity of the NMR signal by 26%. Whereas if this is having this stereochemistry, then there will be no NOE. So on the basis of NOE, we can assign E or Z stereochemistry to this compound. Similarly, we can do conformational analysis for these types of conformers, and it is estimated that this NOE signal is in 8:1 ratio between this methyl and this hydrogen. The intensity of the NMR signal increases by 1.7%, whereas this methyl and this hydrogen interaction increases the intensity of the signal by 19%. So on the basis of rate of increase in NOE, we can give the conformation analysis, that how much of this product is formed and how much of this product is formed. So this is how NOE can be used for identification of different types of stereochemical and conformational relationships between relatively rigid molecules. Then we can also use NMR for detection of aromatic character. So aromatic character, we can compare benzene, cyclohexene and 18-aniline. So this is an aromatic compound, this is carbocyclic alkene, and this is an anti-aromatic compound. So in case of benzene, the ring protons, they experience de-shielding, and the signal for these protons as a singlet comes out at delta 7.3 ppm. So signal is downfield. Because the induced magnetic field has the same direction outside the ring as well as the external magnetic field compared to the vinylic proton. Here, if we compare these protons with these, here this will be downfield at 7.3, whereas in these cases they will show at 5.6 delta. So then if we take the case of this anti-aromatic compound 18 aniline, if we see these inner protons, these 6 protons, they have different environment, and these 12 protons which are on outside ring, they have different environment. The inner protons, they are strongly deshielded at 20.8 ppm and 29.5 ppm, whereas the outer protons, they are significantly shielded. This is with respect to TMS, the reference which we are using. And outer protons, they will show at minus 1.1 ppm. Therefore, the diamagnetic ring current or diatropic ring current, this is associated with aromaticity, whereas paratropic ring current, that signals with anti-aromaticity. So, anti-aromatic compounds, carbocyclic compounds, and aromatic compounds, they have different values of the chemical shift. So on the basis of this, we can differentiate between aromatic compounds, anti-aromatic compounds, carbocyclic compounds. So we can very much detect the aromatic character of a compound through NMR spectroscopy. Then is we can also detect the number of electronactive atoms or the electronegativity of different types of organic compounds. We have seen in the previous lecture also that presence of electronactive atoms in organic compounds containing protons, this causes deshielding, and the NMR signal is shifted downfield. So more the number of electronactive atoms present, higher will be the deshielding, and the signal will shift more downfield. So higher the electron activity of the atom, higher will be the extent of deshielding, and higher will be downfield shifting of the NMR signal. So we can see over here, as the electron activity increases, the signal is more deshielded, and it goes more towards the downfield type. So this is for methane, this is methyl iodide, methyl bromide. As we move from iodide to bromide to chloride to alcohol to fluoride, the electron activity goes on increasing, and the deshielding also goes on increasing. Similarly, if the number of halogens, they increase, then for example, this blue colored is when there is only one halogen, this red color is when there are two halogens, and this green color is when there are three halogens. As the number of halogen increases, the chemical shift also increases, because the deshielding is directly related to the number of electronactive atoms present in the molecule. Then this can also be used to detect if there is a resonance in the double bonds. The most common example is N,N-dimethyl formamide. If we see this structure, the structure A, the NMR will show two singlets, spectral lines in the ratio of 6:1, 6 protons for two methyl groups, these two methyl groups, and one proton for this aldehydic proton. Whereas in this case, if a resonating double bond because of the presence of a lone pair present on nitrogen is there, this goes to this lone pair creates a carbon nitrogen double bond, and this is shifted to oxygen, and this will having negative charge, whereas this nitrogen is having positive charge. And because of the presence of this positive charge on nitrogen, these two methyl groups, they will experience different they are non-equivalent methyl groups, and because of that the signal of two methyl groups that will shift, and this will appear at two different singlets due to restricted rotation of this carbon nitrogen double bond. And on the basis of this, presence of double bond due to resonance can be ascertained, because this will have a different uh, NMR spectrum, and this structure will have a different NMR. Then applications of NMR in food technology. So in case of food technology, the NMR has been used in almost all branches of food, ranging from food processing to food storage to terroir to find out the composition of the different food products, then into the food safety. So almost all branches of safety, processing, storage, all these have found application in case of food technology. Storage, in storage, chemical, physical, then microbiological, all types of applications they have been found in food technology, where NMR has been used for analysis of different types of products, than food safety also. Similarly, in health, health is nutritional health and clinical health. In both the cases, the NMR has played an important role, and we can use NMR for analysis of different types of things in health also. For example, in case of nutrition, NMR can analyze bioactive compounds, then it can help in evaluating the food digestion, food metabolism, aging, diet, lifestyle, all these they find applications in food technology. Then for data analysis also this has been used. Further, magnetic resonance imaging is the most important application of NMR. MRI, magnetic resonance imaging. This has been used in medical diagnostics, and this is a non-invasive, non-destructive tool for imaging soft tissues like brain, heart, and muscles, for discovering tumor in many organics. And this application of NMR is an analytical tool of chemists found in most of the laboratories worldwide. So this is the book which has been used for preparing this lecture, and some other internet sources have also been used, like Wikipedia is also used for preparing this lecture. Thank you very much.